So, second channel video, and yeah, this is obviously not something that I'm gonna go too in depth about. Quick video rather than ranting for 25 minutes here. But obviously, the last couple of weeks, everything in the WNBA has revolved around Caitlin Clark coverage, and let's be very clear, like the Caitlin Clark coverage is the Caitlin Clark coverage. And I think there's a point to be made that while the WNBA is growing, the amount of people that really care about certain teams, certain players, isn't where you would hope it would be. As in, like, people care about Paige Bueckers. And this is better in 2024, by the way. In 2024, the only thing that the general public cared about was Caitlin versus Caitlin Clark haters. Like, that was the only thing in general. Like, if you look at every bit of news coverage of that year, that's all it was. It was Caitlin versus Caitlin, Angel, and whoever got into beef with Caitlin on any given week. Like, that's what it was. And you can say it wasn't, but no, that was what it was. You can try to make whatever argument you want. Even if you don't think there should have been that, that's what it was. So you've got that. And then you've also got a situation now where there are players like Paige who can draw in some viewership. There are players like Olivia Miles who can draw in some viewership. And this is one of those things where, should they be getting more coverage? Yes, they should be. Now, I'm going to make a video talking about Olivia Miles versus Paige Bueckers, and outside of general podcasts that have been there for the last 5 years, you're not going to see very much talking about those type of players. I think Carla Late is incredible. I think what Awafam and Malonga are doing is incredible, and you're just not really seeing any of that. But you also have to take into account as well that the Caitlin Clark, the WNBA's schedule has kind of screwed themselves with some of these Caitlin Clark things. Because, unfortunately, for the vast majority of people, Caitlin Clark is the story. And you can say whatever you want, but it's a fact. Caitlin Clark is the story. Positive or negative, she is the story. And you might be saying, like, oh, sometimes about Kelsey Mitchell, sometimes about Stephanie White. I agree with that. But it is, in terms of WNBA news coverage, Caitlin Clark is the sun, and everything orbits around the sun. Some things are a lot closer to the sun, and they're still, able to harvest the energy, but it is the sun that goes around Caitlin Clark at this point in time. The hope is eventually the likes of Miles, Juju Watkins, Paige Bueckers are going to get to that level, but it's probably not going to happen anytime soon anyway. You just kind of hope that it gets more the outside of Caitlin. The league is still in an upward trajectory outside of Caitlin Clark, and I think I'm going to say I think it's plateaued more than it's on an upward trajectory, but it's not on a downhill trajectory, which is a positive thing. I do think as time goes on with these young players coming through, but I think there's a lot of, when it comes to a lot of the media, it's like NBA 1990s type shit where there's a lot of xenophobia in the media, where it's like, what Awafam Malonga is doing isn't that relevant because they're French and Spanish. They're going to ignore Carla Late because she's French. Like, she didn't come up through the collegiate system. So there's no, especially with the one and done era in the NBA, it doesn't matter where anyone's from. But in America in the 90s, in basketball, it was, look, we loved you through college. We followed you through college, and we're going to keep following you now. And it took really, I'm not even going to say Dirk, because even when Dirk was winning MVPs, he still wasn't treated like he was an MVP, if you get me, back in those days. And that being said, again, it is what it is. All around, in all these scenarios, it is what it is. But at the same time, look, we got to talk about it again, because there's 10 days between the time Caitlin Clark plays basketball. And that's the biggest problem with this whole thing is everyone talking about why is this? We're looking at we're literally going on to the fucking media, and in the pre-game they're just still talking about Caitlin Clark. They're bringing on former Caitlin Clark's former teammates to basically shit talk her. Like it's madness. And if Caitlin Clark plays on Saturday and has a 30-point game, people are talking about the 30-point game. If Caitlin Clark plays on Saturday and has a 2-point game, people are talking about the 2-point game. The Alyssa Thomas thing is in the past. The problem is there's 10 days between it. Like, do we not remember how crazy the media got during the Portland thing? So Caitlin Clark gets into it with Stephanie White. So there's a 6-day gap between when they play Portland and when they play Atlanta. Caitlin Clark gets into it with Stephanie White against Portland. They lose by 20. The next day, nothing happens. The next day, there's some rumblings. By the day before the Atlanta Dream game, Dan Dakic had accused the Fever front office of hating Caitlin Clark. And it said he had insider information to hate Caitlin Clark. Caitlin Clark had been already traded. People had deemed Caitlin Clark a diva. Lynn Dunn had retweeted anti-Caitlin Clark articles. Like, that all happened 4, 5, 6 days later. Why? Because the media is bored. The media is bored. And we're seeing it now again. Every day, a new article comes out about Caitlin Clark. And because Caitlin Clark's not playing basketball, it has to be more extreme than the day before. So we have gone from, it has been 6 days since Caitlin Clark has played basketball. So in those 6 days, or did she play on Thursday night? Is it 5 days? No, it was Wednesday night. It's 6 days since Caitlin Clark has played basketball. So what has happened in those 6 days now is that originally it's gone from, okay, Alyssa Thomas is suspended. Oh shit, Caitlin Clark's gonna miss a game. To now we have spiraled to the extent where it's the WNBA is better without Caitlin Clark. Caitlin Clark fans need to go. Caitlin Clark's a racist. Caitlin Clark needs to speak out. And now, unfortunately, today's Monday. She doesn't play till Sunday. She doesn't play for another 6 days. There's going to be 6 more days of extreme articles being written about Caitlin Clark. And we were being like, oh, you're talking about them. I was like, yeah, my job is to talk about anything WNBA related. And I need to do a much better job on this channel. And I promise you guys, this is ready. I've had no excuse the last week. I've had no excuse the last week for not getting more videos on this channel about other teams. That's on me. That's on me. I'll get this back going. But we got to be very clear here that this is what is happening. The media needs to get clicks. No one other than Caitlin Clark is going to get clicks. The best case scenario, if you want to stop Caitlin Clark, is something crazy to happen in the Commissioner's Cup final. WNBA Game 5, 24 level rigged or something. Or Malice in the Palace or something. And I don't mean I actually want that to happen. I'm just saying. That's the only thing that would get the talk off Caitlin Clark for a few days. Because, unfortunately, in the WNBA media, TV coverage, everything, Caitlin Clark is the sun that everything revolves around. And the WNBA, unfortunately, if you guys have looked at Caitlin Clark's schedule, or the Fever schedule, there are two long breaks during the season. That isn't All-Star break. This long break and the long break after the Portland game. I don't think people realize that the 2 most controversial things that have happened in Caitlin Clark's season happened right before the long breaks. So now the long breaks are just filling with speculation, and I don't know how long it's going to be. Could Lynn Dunn could Lynn Dunn go and make another freaking weird tweet about fans, and could there be more hit pieces written about Caitlin? I don't know, but that is what's happening. That literally is what's happening. And we now have a game to prep for. They're on their road trip. I don't really know what exactly. When it's all said and done, I don't know what exactly they can, they're going to be doing about things. I don't know what exactly we're going to see the league do. I don't know what exactly we're going to see the players do. I don't know what we're going to see the media do. Actually, I know exactly what we're going to see the media do. And I'm telling you this right now. Caitlin Clark got cheap shot on Wednesday. By Thursday, Alyssa Thomas was suspended. The next day, AT was suspended. So AT suspended on Thursday. On Friday, we heard some news. Saturday, we heard some news. Sunday, by Friday, was when Alyssa Thomas's teammates were basically going out of their way posting, all this stuff about AT herself. And then on Saturday, we had, I think what we had on Saturday. I'm just trying to look through it here. So on Friday, on Thursday, she was suspended. On Friday, Caitlin was ruled out for the Sparks game. On Saturday, the Mercury had their game, and Dawana Bonner was rocking up in a Alyssa Thomas jersey. On Sunday, the Fever had won on Saturday, so all the "they're better without Caitlin" narratives came in. Yesterday, or on Sunday, also Chinea Wumake implied Caitlin Clark flopped. And then today, Emmanuel Acho has come out and basically said the league are better off without her. And on the opposite side, you've got Christine Brennan trying to bait fucking Terry Carmichael Jackson into talking bad about Alyssa Thomas, which is mad. I'm going to talk about that as well. But yeah, this video has gone on longer than I thought. Going to be a main channel video and not going to be a second channel video because, again, there's no point talking about Caitlin Clark in the second channel. I'm going to talk about Paige and Olivia Miles there. So, yeah, see you guys.